Hi everyone, it's Trine. So this video is if you have your natal sun trining or sextiling Neptune. These are friendly angles that lend themselves to cooperative behavior from the sun to Neptune. And if you think of aspects as any two planets that they form like this entity unto themselves, then you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes what they form can be more on the challenging side, and sometimes it can be very easy, and therefore it cooperates with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So we look at the sun and we think of what we want to become and what we think, who we think we are, and those kinds of things. If it's more on the challenging side, a person can have this arrogance or this very condescending attitude because they think that they're more important than somebody else. And so when you have contact between the Sun and Neptune, this will soften that type of attitude, but with the hard angles, like the squares and oppositions, the person may, still want to become something because they think that's where it's at. Whereas with the conjunction and with the friendly angles, the person is much more accepting of who they are, I feel. And it's because the hard angles make the person feel like they don't know who they are. So they're trying to solve that problem. But it's kind of like if you have your sun in the 12th house, you might be in Aries, and Aries or Leo, and they're known to be very, very ambitious. But that softens your drive to be somebody special and to stand out. And that can be what the sun is too, the individual. It makes a person much more connected and concerned with others. And the same thing would apply to these friendly angles from the Sun to Neptune. I want to give a shout out to cafeastrology.com for giving me some things to talk about here, but I am paraphrasing, so, and sometimes, I'm adding my own information, so they may not agree with everything, my interpretation of things. This is, you think about Neptune, what does that represent in terms of what the person is involved in or interested in? And I would say the arts and spirituality, the mystic and the artist. And so the sun making this nice contact to Neptune can be someone who does have that dreamy disposition, but who, and with the dreaminess also goes the sensitive nature, which is sensitive to other people. That's an important thing. It's not just about being sensitive in one's own sense of self, but also towards other people. So the empath is going to definitely be one of these. You're going to be, if you have this, you're going to be a natural empath. And if you're a sign, like for instance, those signs that I mentioned, Leo, Aries, I'm a sun in Sagittarius. I would say Aries and Leo are more outwardly ambitious than Sag, but that's all semantics. Let's say any of the fire signs that tend to be very, sometimes come across as insensitive or kind of egotistical or arrogant in some way, even if it's not mean-spirited, they're just kind of promoting themselves all the time. This will soften that tendency. And they will also be probably have more sensitivity towards the feelings of others, not just realizing that it's not all about them. They will also be more sensitive towards feelings. But this is definitely associated with creative types, and also people who have an interest in spiritual endeavors. So if your sun is in Sagittarius, and maybe, I don't know, I'm giving these examples, but I don't know if it's even possible because, Neptune is a generational planet. So maybe more of a sextile. Neptune in Libra. There's an example. That was like the 60s generation. The baby boomers. If you have like a sextile, but it's in a planet, in a sign like Sagittarius that's very spiritual to begin with, then that just enhances it. And one of the things that Cafe Astrology notes is that even though these aspects to Neptune can indicate people that are, compassionate, they're not going to be easy marks for other people. And they mentioned that when people they said they're not as easily taken advantage of as those with sun, moon challenging aspects. So I'm assuming they mean to Neptune, not just sun and moon challenging. And they said that you might have a special connection to animals. Maybe that's because I don't really know why that has to do with Neptune or the sun. Maybe just because you're psychic to begin with. It's interesting. They were mentioning some famous people who had easy aspects to Neptune, and the list that they gave, they said Sextiles, Mick Jagger, Trines, Farrah Fawcett, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, obviously, and Muhammad Ali. And it's very interesting, even the sextile with Mick Jagger, because he is a sun in Leo, and this, he is artistic, definitely. That's what he built his career on. I don't know about the spiritual side, but he's definitely artistic. And the reason that I say that is because I happen to be scrolling upward, and they had because I just did people with squares and oppositions from the sun to Neptune, and one of the people with the squares they mentioned was Jennifer Aniston. And that was kind of like, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, you have Mick Jagger and Farrah Fawcett, who had, easy aspects. And then you have Jennifer Aniston, who is very successful, who has a hard angle. What's, up with that? And I think about Jennifer Aniston, and she always had that kind of a quality to her that was a little bit Piscean to me. I know she's an Aquarius. I don't know what her rising sign is. I think her moon is in Sagittarius. But kind of unsure of herself, like a little bit insecure. So I'll have to do her chart just to see more about that. But I think that this is a very good point, that if you are someone who has this easy aspect, that I feel like you could be a self-made man or woman, in the sense that you can, if you dream it, you can achieve it, because Neptune can be your dreams that may seem like really like pipe dreams, but the sun is what you aspire to become. So, and Muhammad Ali said, "I am the greatest." I mean, you could say that he was using affirmations to kind of keep his winning streak going, so to speak. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.